Before I get into today's episode about Josh Allen, I just want to let you guys know that today's episode is sponsored by SeatGeek. Of course, SeatGeek, you all know it, you all love it. It's the best place to get tickets to sporting events and to concerts and to pretty much any type of event that sells a ticket. But if you've never used SeatGeek before, you can save $20 off your first purchase just by using the promo code JKS. That's all you have to do. And the link is in the description below, so you can click right over there. Again, they have tickets for regular season games, they have tickets for the 4th preseason game if you want to check that one out. And there's also, baseball games and just all sporting events, really. So again, if that's something you're interested in, link is in the description below. And anyways, back to your regularly scheduled video. As you guys know, if you watched my pre-draft coverage, I was definitely very high on Josh Allen. I personally said that he was a top 3 talent going into the draft. In my opinion, it went Bosa, Williams, and then Allen, but I think Allen is a really talented player, and I even said in my video about Josh Allen before he was drafted, I think there's a very real chance that this guy ends up being Defensive Rookie of the Year. Simply because not only is he such a talented player, but he's probably more NFL ready than Williams or even Bosa as of today. And so I, like many others, were saying, okay, he could potentially be a top 3 talent, maybe he'll drop to 4 just because the Cardinals seem like they're going to draft Kyler Murray. But that seems like a no-brainer. The Raiders will be the ones who pick him up. I wouldn't even be surprised if the Jaguars didn't even think about drafting Josh Allen because they just assumed he was going to be off the board. But then the Raiders passed on him, and so we were all, I think, very surprised by that. Then me, as a Bucs fan, was kind of hoping we'd pick him up with the 5th overall pick. However, they decided to go Devin White, and I do understand that selection. Tampa Bay just needed a middle linebacker, so, they decided to go Devin White. I get it. I probably would have liked to have Josh Allen, honestly, but I still understood the move. And then we got to the 6th overall pick, where the Giants shocked everybody by not getting Haskins or Josh Allen, but instead going off the board for many of us and picking Daniel Jones. So that's kind of the tale of how Jacksonville ended up with one of the best players in the draft with the number 7th overall pick. So he's a tremendous talent, and I think a lot of us were kind of looking forward to seeing, okay, well, how will he play against NFL-level talent? Because yes, he could totally beat up college-level talents, but obviously in the NFL, players are a lot better. We'll start things off with this play, and one thing that I do like about this Jacksonville Jaguars defense is really just the way it's coached. I feel like they're very clever in the way they try to get pressure to the quarterback, and they do a lot of plays like this, where they're going to have a Jacksonville Jaguars player kind of run right there to hopefully get the left tackle to move up closer to the top half of the screen, and then Allen, who's right over there, will simply just run around the tackle and try to get a straight shot to Fitzpatrick. That's the way this play is supposed to work on paper. And so for Allen, one key here is for him to not necessarily just get up to a top speed super quickly. He wants to kind of go a little bit slowly at first and then get up to a top speed and try to get to the quarterback. If he starts running to the quarterback too quickly, it could just become obvious for the Dolphins' offensive line that Josh Allen is rushing, and it could be obvious for Fitzpatrick that he has to get the ball off quickly. So as you see, he definitely just kind of takes a step forward and doesn't even really run, almost just basically just steps forward. And if you look at the tackle, that worked, so now Allen is going to have a straight shot to the quarterback, but of course the downside is it takes him a little bit longer to get there. But what I like about this is watch Allen's speed. He's going to get there so quickly, and he just isn't quite able to get there in time, but it was still just really impressive that he was able to get there as quickly as he did. Speed is everything when it comes to Josh Allen. I mean, there's just something about just his insane breakout speed, and it's so valuable in a defensive end. 'Cause I could see this guy being a double-digit sack guy this year. I really could. I think that's a possibility. And one thing I like about him too is his hands. This one will be another example of that, where he's going to be going up against the left tackle. There are 2 tight ends in the game, however, neither one of them will be blocking Allen on this one. It will be the tackle. But watch what he's going to do once this ball is snapped. He's basically going to try to get his right arm kind of on that left tackle's left arm. That's what Allen is going to be trying to do here. And as you see, he's totally pulling it off. And that's key, because, if you're a tackle, you want to get your left arm kind of on Allen's right shoulder pad, but there's just no way you can do that if you can't even get your arm onto Josh Allen because he's holding your arm. That's kind of why people say, I don't care about speed, I don't care about footwork, I care about hands. Hands mean everything, because the reality is you can't block if you can't use your hands. So for Allen, he can kind of push that tackle's hand closer to his body, and then he'll be able to easily just run over to the left side of the screen and get by that tackle. So those were a couple of good fundamental plays, I thought. Maybe not the flashiest plays, but he's making an impact on each of those plays, and so that's what I like about him. I mean, being able to kind of own a left tackle that's an NFL level tackle when you're just a rookie is really impressive, especially for defensive linemen, which historically will take a little bit of time to develop. It's more often that interior linemen actually take a little bit more time to develop than edge rushers. Edge rushers can definitely still get to an NFL level kind of quickly. They can have impacts on a rookie season, but it is certainly rare that you'll see a rookie that's having this much of an impact as an edge rusher that Josh Allen appears to be having. He's one of the more NFL-ready talents that I've seen in quite some time, and that's including the guy who he was drafted in the same draft with in Nick Bosa. I think they're both incredibly NFL ready, no doubt about it. Because not only does he have good fundamentals, well, I mean, he's just a good player. Like, take a look at this one, for example. The guy you're going to want to keep an eye on is actually going to be that tight end right there, because he's actually going to go over and be blocking Josh Allen, and basically the idea is he wants to get Allen up to the top half of the screen. Of course, a tight end against an edge rusher is not a great situation, but if you can kind of surprise him, you can just push him up to the top half of the screen a little bit, and that's all you need, since it is going to be a run basically underneath Allen. It'll be a run to the bottom half of the screen, so Allen won't be able to get into the play, hopefully. But the key here is watch Allen's first step. He just blows right by that tight end and is able to make a tackle for a loss. I mean, that's a big time play right there. There's Pro Bowl level players that can't make plays like that, at least not consistently. And Allen can make those plays, and he can make them consistently. He's just got to be a frustrating guy to go up against if you're an offensive coordinator, because he can just terrorize you throughout the game. Like, watch, this one's another one, where basically the idea this time is he's actually not supposed to be the guy who's making the play. He's kind of a role player in this play. He's going to run up to the top half of the screen to try to get the right tackle to also sort of move up in that direction, and then you'll just swing another Jaguar around to the bottom half of the screen. He goes around the tackle and gets to the quarterback. Something you see all the time, but it is an important thing for Josh Allen to know how to do. But one thing I actually love from Allen is look at what he's going to do right when his ball is snapped. He's going to kind of fake as though he's going to the bottom half of the screen, but then cut up to the top half of the screen. So for that right tackle, he's just in terrible position to be trying to block Allen at this point. I mean, he can still try to get his arms over, but it's going to be tough for him. You know, he's clearly expecting Allen to go to the bottom half of the screen, so the fact that he's going kind of closer to the top half of the screen, it's a tough situation. He gets some pressure, but not too much, and Allen delivers a hit and doesn't allow a completion. I mean, really, truly just a remarkable play from Allen, in my opinion. That's the kind of play that makes you say, okay, this guy is good. It's a play that, as a Bucs fan, I say, man, you know, I like Devin White, but I really kind of wish he was in our ugly alarm clock number uniforms. I mean, I know it was against the Miami Dolphins offensive line, not exactly the most elite offensive line out there. But I mean, let's be honest, what is an elite player supposed to do against a bad offensive line? He's supposed to terrorize them, and he terrorized that Miami Dolphins offensive line. And it wasn't just in the passing game, it was in the running game as well. Like, take a look at this play. I mean, this is an inside zone, and there's going to be a right tackle who's going to be going out and blocking Josh Allen right there. So this is the kind of play that says, okay, you know what, we're going to just completely take the edge rusher away from the play on this one. I mean, it's a run to the inside, we're going to have a tackle going up against Allen. Really, there's not much Allen can do here. I mean, take a look at what happens right as of right now. I mean, you know, Allen's in the position he should be in, since if it were to be a run to the bottom half of the screen, Allen has to be prepared for something like that. But at the same time, Allen is just now so far away, how is he supposed to be able to make a play on this one? But I'll tell you how. Watch how he's going to shove off that tackle and move over and still find a way to get into that play. To me, that's hustle. The phrase, who wants it more, gets thrown around a lot in sports, and I think for the most part, it's used pretty dumbly. I mean, pretty much everyone always wants it in the NFL. Even if it's not for the love of the game, it's at least for the millions of dollars you're getting. But on a play like that for Josh Allen, I mean, he was just playing at 100%. That tackle wasn't necessarily being lazy, but he definitely wasn't giving his all, and so Allen was able to take advantage of that and still find a way to get into the play and make a tackle. And I don't even blame the offensive lineman for that one, because I mean, you're not really expecting too much. I mean, you're just blocking a guy on an inside zone, just basically saying, okay, we'll just take each other out of this play on this one. But Allen found a way to still be impactful, so I mean, again, I just love Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen is going to be such an elite player in the NFL. Anyways, there was also this play where Allen's just going to be going up one-on-one against the right tackle here. So nothing too fancy, although it is worth mentioning there are two tight ends in the game, both on the bottom half of the screen. However, they're both going to be running routes here. But one thing you'll notice here is that just because of the tight ends there, he's kind of in a situation where he's running straight into the tackle, which of course isn't exactly what you want. The goal is to get around the tackle, not to get close to the tackle, so you kind of have to figure out what you want to do here. Some might say, okay, screw it, I'll just try to overpower you here. However, Allen knows his biggest strength is his speed, and so he's going to try to use his speed to his advantage. Even in a tight situation like this, he's still able to run over to the bottom half of the screen and get by the tackle. I mean, if you look at right now, that is not good hand placement if you're a tackle. Essentially, to dumb things down as much as possible, if you're a tackle, you want to get your hand as far over to the opposite shoulder pad as possible. Ideally, you want to get it onto shoulder pad, but if you can't do that, you want to get it as close to it as possible. And so for an edge rusher, your job is to try to get that hand as far away from that shoulder as possible. That's kind of the chess match, so to speak. And if you notice, his hand is kind of on Allen's chest to a degree, so this is not great hand placement at all. And now typically the last ditch effort you would have as a tackle is to just try to push Allen back, try to push him past your quarterback, and is that going to work? Well, it's actually kind of hard to tell because Fitzpatrick runs up in the pocket, and then he tries a little shovel pass right there that fell incomplete, but I think that was a really good play from Allen. This guy is just great. I know I'm gushing over him a little bit, but I mean, hey, when you make all of these types of plays in just some meaningless preseason game, it's going to get you excited. I know some people might say, well, it's just the preseason, how much does it really matter? And to me it matters. I mean, it's not like the offensive linemen are saying, we don't really need to block him. You know, they're still trying to block. They don't want their quarterback to get hurt in the preseason. They're definitely trying to block here. But even so, Allen is just kind of just better. And one thing that he was good at was not just rushing the passer, but also in coverage. I mean, on this play, they're going to mix things up because, again, the Jaguars do like to mix things up. They like the full opposing quarterbacks. And one of the ways you can do that is by having an edge rusher drop back into coverage. And so that's where Allen is. But also, you know, typically if you have a guy dropping back into coverage, usually what you'll do is you'll just have that player be one dropping back into zone coverage. However, that is not what Jacksonville's going to do. Instead, he's going to be playing man coverage, and he's in charge of making sure that he covers up that halfback who's right over there. And so for Fitzpatrick, he notices this right away, and he looks over and sees that his halfback has pretty good separation between Josh Allen, and so he's going to make a throw in that direction. He says, hey, with my halfback going up against an edge rusher, I'm just going to have to trust that he can sort of outmaneuver him. It's a smart play from Fitzpatrick. It is what I would recommend from Fitzpatrick. I think he's doing the right thing here. However, look at what Allen does here. He just sort of just delivers the boom there, so to speak, just lays on an absolutely great hit. So that's another thing you love to see as a Jaguars fan, that this guy, you know, he can cover a halfback. I mean, that's not something that is necessary in every single defense, but it is something that can be necessary in this Jaguars defense, so it's good to see that he can do something like that. One more play I want to talk about, just simply because I don't want to just talk about positives, I will bring up one negative, and it's going to be this one. He's going up one-on-one against the right tackle, but take a look at what happens right when this ball is snapped. He's going to once again try to just get past the tackle, and it doesn't really work out too well. You know, it's not going to work out every time. The tackle's doing a pretty good job of getting in position and trying to block Allen here. And so for Allen, he is maybe just a little bit far over. Fitzpatrick feels like maybe he has a window where he can try to get in between Allen and also in between the right guard and try to pick up some yards that way. And so that's what he's going to try to do. And as you see, Allen, he has a chance to make this play. I mean, he can definitely try to reach out and grab Fitzpatrick here, but he is going to try to do that and just isn't quite able to make this tackle. Now, he was still able to slow Fitzpatrick down enough that there was another Jaguar who was able to come over and make the sack. So again, you do kind of give him some credit. He did kind of help disrupt that play to a degree. But if I'm Josh Allen's coach on that play, I'm going to chalk that one up as a negative in my opinion, just simply because this is a guy who has the potential to be an elite level edge rusher. I mean, we're talking all pro potential, so I'm going to kind of sit here and say, you know what, try to be better than that. You want to be elite? Well, make those tackles. Khalil Mack makes those tackles. You want to be Khalil Mack? Then make those tackles. I think Jaguars fans are probably smiling at this point by saying, wait a second, so you're even putting this guy in the same category as elite level edge rushers? Well, I'll certainly take that. And of course, I'm not saying he's at that level just quite yet, but I'm saying his potential is definitely there, and he's already at a high level. So yeah, even my negative takeaways from that game were he was only really good on this play instead of exceptionally good. So again, that kind of just goes to show how well he played against the Miami Dolphins offensive line. It was just a preseason. We will have to see how he does in the regular season, but I think he's going to be a force. I think he will terrorize opposing offenses, but that's just my opinion. I'd like to know what you guys think. What's your opinion on Josh Allen? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thanks for watching.